Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith. Today we're going to be unboxing another Kingdom Death Monster expansion, which I'm excited to be adding into the collection. This one is called The Lonely Tree. That's right, I don't know too much about this one besides the fact the miniature is really cool. Now, I could be totally wrong here, but in the base box I believe there is a tile that represents the Lonely Tree. And I believe there is some story implemented into the core game that references the Lonely Tree, but this expansion, I think, if I'm correct, expands upon that, as well as obviously giving you a miniature and some other things that can potentially happen. Of course, I don't know this in detail yet because I haven't opened it. But what you're seeing here is what is typical for the larger sized expansions for Kingdom Death Monster, of which there are 4. And there's 4 of them that are in boxes of this size. You can see these are quite a bit thicker than the original, I guess it was 8 that I did so far. So now we're getting into the meatier ones that have quite a bit more to them in terms of the sprues and stuff like that. So without further ado, let's crack this thing open. So as you can see, again, it's got the nice shimmer. I'll give you guys a quick look here. When I say shimmer, there you go. You can see my reflection pretty much in there. So it says Lonely Tree, and that is the that's a symbol right there for the Lonely Tree. And I'll give you a better look at that once all this wrap is off. So the first thing we're going to do is cut into this. This should be exactly the same as all the other ones. Now, what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to go ahead and keep one of these 4. I have 3 more of these size boxes to open after this one. I'm likely going to keep one of them just for storage, because I think having one is really cool just in the standpoint, maybe 2. One for maybe all the miniature sprues that I have in total, depending on how you know, full these really get, and maybe 2 of them. And then another one for all the booklets, because each one of these gives you a booklet, or I might just trash them all and put them all in the core box if I can make it fit. But either way, they make a decent storage solution, I guess, but at the same time, they're not the prettiest boxes, because they're just simply for expansions. So, I'll figure that out as I go, I guess. Alright, so here is the main box. This is the actual look of the front of the box without any kind of sheen on it. So you can see the emblem of the Lonely Tree. And again, Adam Poots designed this one, and 17+. So we're going to go ahead and crack the top off and see how this one looks. So this should be similar layout inside the box itself, but again, already a little bit of a difference. First off, sprue-wise, there's a ton more to it. Holy, this thing is big. So there is a lot of stuff there. There's about 4 sprues, it looks like, if I'm counting that correctly. So this, as you can tell in terms of it being a tree, this is going to be quite involved. I think this is one of the more difficult ones to build. I could be wrong on that. Maybe it's one of the more easier ones, but again, it's a tree, so you're going to have to follow some instructions in order to figure out what limbs are going where. There's lots of things hanging off of the Lonely Tree as well. Of course, we got our favorite packing peanuts. Now, I don't know if this one comes with cards, so I'll be surprised if it does. It might. Oh, look at that, it does. It also comes with a ton of packing peanuts, so let's kind of like move those aside to find the deck of cards. Okay, so here we go. So this is, wow, this is going to be a mess to clean up. All right, so basically I'll just shove them all off to the side here like this, and this is the deck of cards that came out of it for the Lonely Tree. So there you go. And the backs are very similar to what you guys have seen through my other unboxings as well. So without further ado, let's cut into that. Now there is another section of the box that has some manuals and stuff like that, so we'll get to that in a second. First off, we'll just cut into this pack of cards, and I'll try to do this as carefully as possible. Now I don't want to ruin anything. So here we go. Just getting the wrap off here. Trying to be gentle as I can. There we go. Alright, so we got it ripped and ready to go. Let's see what the Lonely Tree has in store for us in terms of cards. So again, these cards, when they come, they've been packed very tightly, so sometimes they are going to stick together a little bit. Now, when I say stick together, you think of cheap cards that are sticking together. They're actually not cheap at all. They're super high quality, but it's just because they've been compressed and put into these sealed packages that sometimes when I'm rifling through them, some of them stick together. So I'm just doing a quick little preemptive little rip through of the deck just to kind of separate things. So just to kind of get them one off. And then once they're separated, they move very easily. So there we go. Okay, so now that we've kind of given them a little bit of movement, they should move a little bit easier. So the Lonely Tree is right there. The Object of Desire. Grass Whistle. See, there's one already hiding behind it. There's a Lonely Tree there. And it is considered an obstacle. That's one thing that's different about this expansion, I believe, than other expansions for Kingdom Death, is that this truly is an obstacle that can be found within the world, I think, during fights and things like that. So I could be totally wrong on that, but I believe that's where that tile comes into play from the core game. So this is something that just can kind of appear, I'm assuming, and maybe it obviously can be fought, I think, based on the fact it's got AI cards. So it's very interesting. I don't know how that's going to work for where it goes from an obstacle to becoming an actual, you know, something that you go after. So those of you that are more familiar with the game would be able to know that, but obviously this tree probably has a little bit of an advantage to going after it, and then likely if things go bad, I mean things can go bad because everything can go bad in Kingdom Death Monster, but there's probably a trade-off there, I would imagine. So these cards we're getting into right now are the hit location cards. So these are, I'm not trying to spoil anything, so just giving you a rough idea of what the artwork looks like and things like that on the cards. Fresh pollination. These are still hit location, and there we go. So we got these resources, I think? Strange resources, yeah. So we got like lonely fruit. So these are the things that are probably going to be worthwhile getting from the tree, would be my guess. I could be totally wrong, but these are the things that like you could potentially find, and I'm guessing that those resources are going to help you. So let's see really quick, before we open up the sprue, because I do want to check that out, let's check to see if there's any cards in this one. There should be. Well, first off, there's definitely a full manual for the Lonely Tree. And then, I think, there is some cards. Oh, right, the dividers. Of course, because there's always dividers in all of these boxes. So here is the Lonely Tree dividers. Now, again, there's no gear card on this one, you can see, because there's no gear cards in this expansion because, well, it's a tree. So this is going to have dividers for these cards that we just ripped into right now. So that's awesome, because it's going to keep things organized in the box. Let's go ahead and rip into the sprues, because I'd like to give you guys a little bit of a look at what they look like. Now, the thing is, I'm not going to be able to rhyme off, per se, everything that I'm seeing, but at least it gives you an idea of what you can expect inside the bag. Probably going to butcher this bag like I did with my previous one. Ugh, so many pieces. Okay, this is a lot. Okay, so we've got all of these sprues right here. So the very first one here is the Lonely Lady. So just one figure that you can basically put together. And there you go. I'm going to flip this over to the other side. So all the different pieces for her to put her together. Next up, we've got a base for her, of course. Again, the normal design for a Kingdom Death Monster game, having the Adam Poots or I Love Adam Poots on the back. First sprue for the tree. So again, quality on these things is always super high with Kingdom Death Monster. So you can see really, really pops. Even if it's just a tree, there's a lot of detail going on there. So painting this should be fun, if I ever can get around to that. I'm almost scared to take them out of order, so I'm going to flip them over as I reveal them so I can put them back the way they came. These, again, these might be some of the strange resources that are on the tree. Like, that would be my guess. They could be some type of fruit or something. Could be something even more gruesome, because this is Kingdom Death Monster. I'm not 100% sure. We got more branches. Again, you can see how having something to help you put it together, which I'll likely be using the sites that I reference in the description to help me out, like Vibrant Lantern and things like that, or just other sites that will help me to piece this thing together, because some of these pieces are very similar in nature. Especially when you're talking about a tree, you got branches and bushels of leaves, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of hard to know exactly where they go, kind of like a jigsaw puzzle, I guess. So having a resource that can help you with that is cool. This is a really heavy base. That's crazy. And you can see here, because Kingdom Death Monster's really weird, you've got a bunch of stone faces, which is very normal for the world, but there's also arms. So basically, instead of it being roots of a tree, they're arms, which is super creepy. And then you've got a bunch of weapons that are really cool. So I thought I would show you these ones. So again, some very cool weapons. I'm guessing that the Lonely Tree has some really interesting stuff hanging in it, maybe, and maybe that's the draw, is to come to the Lonely Tree to fight it to try to gain some of those, but maybe the backlash is the fact that it's going to attack you back. I don't know the backstory on this thing at all, so I'm really excited to get into that. Of course, I'm not going to read it until I actually play the game. So that leads me into another thing. I'm going to show you guys the first page or two of this particular booklet, but I'm absolutely not going to show you any spoilerish content in here, because the game is meant to be explored on your own. So here is the artwork for the Lonely Tree. That's actually quite nice. I like that a lot. Very clean. So the very first page is like the other expansions. You've got the Lonely Tree description there. You've kind of got your contents on the side. Down the middle, I'm going to show you how to upgrade your core game to add in all of the things, whether it be the dividers, the new strange resources, all that good stuff. Then how to add them in, some actual rules for the objects. The showdown special rules are right here. The monster fruit, so there's something that might be of value. Let me see here. Grants any monster the monster. Maybe the Lonely Tree actually helps out the monster you're fighting. Like that could be the other thing too. Maybe it's not a good thing, but monster impassable rule. So there's a monster impassable rule that comes into effect with this. You got the miniature talk there. And then the very first thing that's going to happen is you're going to move into like a whole story. So basically it's going to go into a whole story that I can't and won't show you because it immediately shows art as well as, not necessarily just the art, I don't mind showing that, but the story is literally written below it. So I won't go any further because that starts getting into super spoilers territory. So as you can see, there's kind of like pages of artwork as well as story there. And then and that's it. So I'm really looking forward to running into this in the world and finding out exactly what is involved with the Lonely Tree. Those of you that I said play this already, I already figured this out. So you guys already know, of course. But I guess I got some exploring to do to find this. So I also have a ton of building to do. Like the more I unbox these expansions, the scarier this game gets in terms of size. I will eventually get to building all of it, and I have been working slowly at it. The channel obviously takes full priority up front and center, but my goal is to eventually get to a playthrough at some point. That would be the dream, the hope. But it really is a monster to put together. So I'm having a ton of fun with it though. The miniature quality is off the charts. They're by far the best miniatures I have in my collection in terms of quality and things like that. But I really enjoyed unboxing this one. I have three more to go. And once we get those 3 out of the way, then we're going to be done. We'll be done the expansion unboxings, and we can take a little break until I can get ready to do a showcase for it, which I'm sure you guys are chomping at the bit to hear or see, so you can actually see how this game flows. But hopefully this was helpful, showing you exactly what you get inside the Lonely Tree. Thank you for all your continued support on the channel. You guys are amazing. All the comments and messages I've been getting outside of the channel have been just as amazing as the ones I've been getting on the videos. So if you have anything you want to mention, talk about, feel free in the comments below to ask any questions or just make a general comment. Leave a like if you enjoy seeing these particular unboxings for Kingdom Death, and also there's a few more to come. So thank you so much, and as always, keep on rolling solo.